I felt like the Lord told me, you keep trying to get out of this dry well, and I want you to dig deeper. I want you to actually go deeper into the dark, because if you dig, you're going to find jewels and diamonds and gold. There are lessons that I have for you here. There are people that are here that are experiencing what you're experiencing. We endure darkness. We sometimes live in the darkness. There's so much oppression in our history that's going on present day that we can see that it could potentially impact our future. Don't think that God is afraid of you. Don't think that God is afraid of your mistakes or mess ups. Especially as an artist, I'm just tumbling through. I don't have a strong plan. It's kind of chaos. And the moment I was willing to surrender that to God, I feel like that's the moment He met me with answers.
Hi, and welcome to another episode and another season of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here on this platform, we bring to you voices of dynamic women that are out there making a positive impact in their lives, in their family, in the community around them. Women of faith, women of resilience, women who have battled through something and they are bold enough, strong enough to turn around, grab the hand of another sister and pull them through and be a witness. Today, I'm so truly inspired to introduce to you my guest today, someone who is using creativity, storytelling, and faith to uplift community and drive social change. My guest today, Vally O'Connor, is a digital content creator, a storyteller from New Orleans, blending arts, entertainment, activism in a way that sparks transformation. Her work in the nonprofit sector is deeply rooted in civil rights and community economic progression. She is passionate about making space for marginalized artists to share their truth. Just in the month of February, she curated a powerful storytelling showcase in honor of African heritage, bringing together performances and workshops that celebrated resilience, growth, and connection. Today, we'll dive into how Vally's journey of storytelling has shaped her purpose and the impact that arts and social justice and how we can all use our voices to create change. So whether you are an artist or an activist or just someone who is looking for a little inspiration, this conversation is for you. So lean in and let's get started. Let me welcome my guest today, Miss Vally O'Connor. Hi, Vally. Welcome to the Well. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm well. I'm well. Thank you so much.
Well, good. I'm glad to have you here. And you are doing so much. And through the power of storytelling and activism and just bringing it all full circle for us to partake in history and use our voice um, to shape our future, to shape the narrative and where our voices can be heard. So thank you for all that you're doing right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for allowing me the space to be here and to share my story. And yeah, this is going to be an exciting conversation.
It is. So I see that you are from New Orleans. So, as we talked about right before, this is Mardi Gras. This is a very special time right now. This is the beginning of March. Just so everyone knows that this is a very special time. It's filled with so much rich history. And with this being your profession, I know that you are out here striving right now during this time.
I grew up 30 minutes outside of New Orleans, and I moved
Yeah.
to New Orleans maybe like 7 years ago. I was raised in between New Orleans and St. Tammany Parish, which is a city across the bridge if you're from this area. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is New Orleans is definitely the place to be when it comes to artistry and
Oh,
expression. it's the perfect place to be. Actually, it's I've always, when I was young, I definitely had aspirations to move to New Orleans when I got older. So yeah, I'm in the
Oh,
right place, the right city.
yeah, you are. And there's so much going on in New Orleans, and I think that it's important, especially to continue to pour into New Orleans because it is filled with so much rich culture. Especially with you guys just had the Super Bowl there. So, I mean, there's so much that's going on right now. I see a lot of amazing things coming out of that. So, start with telling us a little bit of your journey and what led you to become a digital content creator and a storyteller. I mean, we're putting on showcases. Tell me about this.
Well, how far do you want me to go back? Where should we start?
I want to know where it started. What gave you the spark that
Yeah.
got you going?
Well, I was raised with seven other siblings. I'm the third oldest. We're all girls. I have one brother.
Oh,
And yes, it's a lot of us. And we all live together and in a four-bedroom house. And
mm-hmm,
it was very cramped. I felt very claustrophobic as a kid. My father
mm-hmm,
was not in my life. But me and my sisters, we really loved him. We loved hanging out with him. To this day, my father is like one of the best artists I know. He's an incredible storyteller, musician, lyricist, rap artist. Um,
mm-hmm,
and so as a kid, when we would go, the few times that we actually did get an opportunity to connect with my dad, he would always be, singing, rapping, drawing, doing something super creatively led. And I was like a daddy's girl as a kid. I wanted to be like him in every way. So I started to draw. That was like my first modality in storytelling. I would trace pictures and
mm-hmm.
give them to my kindergarten classmates. And um,
Oh,
it was, yeah. And it was there in me. And I also needed to escape as I got older, like around 10, 11 years old. I started to write, to escape the claustrophobia
mm-hmm,
and the chaos and just all that was
mm-hmm,
happening in my house. I
mm-hmm.
really used art when I was young as a way to escape and to make sense of the world around me. So that's really where it started. Inspiration and also escape.
I love that. It's such an interesting combination when you say escape because that's what we're doing when we're storytelling. You said that your dad influenced your creativity. And so did you have like this, do you have this voice? Do you sing? Do you rap? Do you do some of the things that you've seen him to play any instrument?
So yeah, actually, so storytelling for me is inclusive of all of that. Storytelling
Okay.
is a way um, to umbrella the language of telling stories. So
Yeah.
whether that's through poetry or singing or acting or script writing, writing of any kind, even instrumentation. I don't play any instruments, but as
Yeah.
someone who does play an instrument who may not sing or write, they're telling a story through their instrument. So I struggled for so long to box and to sort of contain all of what I do in storytelling
Mhm.
or in my creativity. And then I
Yeah.
stumbled upon the word storytelling. I was like, oh, that works because it really embodies like all of the mediums of expression, and
Yeah.
it makes sense to me. So yeah, it's I sing, I write. I don't say that I dance, but more so movement. I think there's a difference. Dancing
Yeah.
feels more choreographed, and when you say
Yeah.
I'm a dancer, you expecting me to bust a move, and I'm not gonna do.
Right.
I definitely
But you could.
maybe not. My sisters, they make fun of me all the time about my dancing. Like it's hurtful. But I do, but it's like when you have a storytelling is like for me, it feels like something that comes from my core. And
Yeah.
so from that space, movement happens and it's like healing. I'll start to embody a certain rhythm based on maybe
Mhm.
what I'm going through, a trauma. The body keeps score. That's actually a book by
Mhm.
Eckhart Tolle, and he talks about. I don't know if he's like a philosopher or a
Mhm.
psychiatrist or just a
Mhm.
writer, but he speaks a lot about how the body keeps trauma literally stored. And so when I was going through like the hardest times in my life, my body just wanted to move, and I was so embarrassed. It's like, I don't dance though, and I can't dance, and I'm in my room alone, and it's gonna look weird. And then I just one day was like, you know what, screw it, and I just started to move. It wasn't dance, but it was movement
Look,
because So that's what I mean. If that makes sense.
yeah, no, that makes so much sense. And I think, oh my gosh, we can go so deep into that, about letting your body go and just letting it do what it does, because it is telling a story, and you're letting out a lot of that trauma, like you said. I want to talk to you about your most recent project.
Hmm.
I think it is so amazing how you were able to do this storytelling showcase that celebrated the African heritage and emphasized on resilience and growth. What inspired this project?
Whew.
What
I
what did
don't.
you hope to impact?
Yes, thank you for asking this. Because I don't get asked this, and I love to talk about it.
Mm,
So it's a sort of a mouthful. I titled it "It Gets Darker: An Afrofuturist Heritage Month Event Showcase" or Showcase Event, and
mm,
basically, I "It Gets Darker" came from a place of me. I guess I can start here. I recently recommitted my life to Christ like 2 years ago.
mm,
Pre that, I was agnostic, and I didn't have the words and language until today. But really, what I was doing was deconstructing,
mm,
because I was a Christian for several years, for my entire upbringing in high school, uh,
mm,
junior high, as a kid. Like, it's like ingrained in me because my mom and my grandmother raised us, and
mm,
just we know Christianity. And so I ended up leaving the church out of frustration and doubt and anger and concern and questions. And I had a lot of questions, and nobody was really answering my questions. And so I
mm,
decided to just leave it and explore. And exploration became denouncing Christianity, and
mm,
denouncing Christianity became agnosticism, and agnosticism became witchcraft, and
mm,
exploring spells and spiritualism and universalism
mm,
and all the things. And
mm.
I got to a place throughout all this time, so much
Mm.
happened, but
Yes.
overall, there was just like this tapping all the time inside of me that made me feel like I was constantly in danger, that I wasn't okay, that something was horribly wrong, something went wrong.
Mm,
I remember my first series of panic attacks out of nowhere. So
mm,
things were happening, and I didn't understand why. I would go through bouts of extreme depression and sadness
mm.
from a space of being truly happy, and I didn't know what was going on. I had a pretty good life, and I'm doing my
Yeah.
thing, and I'm growing, and I'm learning, and I have good
Mm.
relationships, but I felt internally like something was
Something's
suffering
wrong.
and miserable and empty. So, um, fast forward
Mm,
to uh, 2 years ago, when it's like everything sort of came to a peak. I ended up moving
mm,
to New York for school, to continue to hone in my creativity. And I
yeah.
ended a relationship at that time. And um, it's like everything, just like I said, came to a peak, and I
Yeah.
completely like fell apart. Like everything
Mm,
collapsed on me. I went through
mm,
the darkest time of my entire life. I'm 28 years old. And
mm,
still, that time was like very, very dark for me. And
mm,
I ended up going through, depression, ideation of suicide. I still had
mm,
witch friends, a lot of friends in
mm,
witchcraft, and um, I would
mhm,
get. It was common for like the people in my group. We would just get like tarot card readings and hand.
mm, mm.
Like it was nothing. Like you just got your cards read when you needed like a word or prophecy, and so
Yeah.
I was going to my friend like, what's going on in my life? Like what's happening? And I
Yeah.
remember the last time I went to her before I recommitted my life to Christ, the word that she gave me tormented my soul to where
Mm,
it was like my reality like split, and I was hearing voices, and I just felt
mm.
so dark, and just it was horrible. And that
Mm.
from that moment I was like, oh, I can't do that anymore. Like that's not
It just
that was
clicked.
Right. And that was kind of the road to back to Christ. But when I got saved
Mm,
again, that time wasn't very far, far away. That was just, I
yeah.
was, so I remember I got saved, and I
Yeah.
was always taught, like, okay, when you get saved, immediately you're going to feel better. You're going to be
Yeah.
sanctified and saved, and everything's going to be good. And it wasn't,
Mm,
I felt
no.
hope and I had joy and peace and all those things, but there was still that emptiness and depression and
Yeah.
darkness. And
Yeah.
I remember praying to God, like, what is this? I feel like I'm in this dry well and I keep trying to claw out.
Mm,
And I'm here,
mm,
you got me, I'm open, and I'm still in this dark space, this
mm,
darkness. And I just was so frustrated with God. I'm like, you're not even real. Like, it was so interesting.
mm.
I felt like the Lord told me, you keep trying to get out of this dry well, and I want you to dig deeper. I want you to actually go deeper into the dark, because if you dig, you're going to find jewels and diamonds and
Mm.
gold. There are lessons that I have for you here. There are people that are here that are experiencing what you're experiencing. And so,
Yeah.
and then it's funny because I was just on my friend this the other day, like, in my mind, when I felt like the Lord told me this, I was like, well, at least give me, if I'm gonna be here, if I'm gonna be in this dark space, at least give me,
Yeah.
like a blanket and, some
Yeah.
tea, a book, like, be here. So let's make it comfortable. And I kid
Yeah.
you, God comforted me, and He's still comforting me. And so all that to
Mm,
say, It Gets Darker was birthed from recognizing and understanding that as Black people, especially if we're going to centralize that theme because it was February, we endure darkness. We sometimes live in the darkness. There's so much oppression in our history that's going on
mm,
in the present day that we can see that it could potentially impact our future given the context of just society today. And we're so hungry to just get past the darkness, but God has shown me that in the darkness life is formed, and it will
mm.
get darker, and it's going to get darker. We're in a dark space in life right now. Everything is in crisis mode, and life is screaming in so many directions, politically, spiritually, mentally. Like, this is a critical time, and it may very well get darker, but at the same time, if we can capture and capitalize and recognize that the seed is busted, but in the dirt it grows, it takes root. So again, there's life in that darkness. There's things are luminescent in the darkness. Like, yes, it's dark, but if we could just stand still and look around us, we'll see beauty. Things glow in the dark. And I was like, okay, I like
Oh.
that. So I was like, so that's that message. That was the message for It Gets Darker. Mhm.
Wow. I am so in awe with your story, and I thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. And I can see definitely how so many people can relate to it. And just talking about that dark place, that a lot of us sometimes get lost in,
Yeah.
and we have no way out.
Mhm.
So I love how you put that. How do you see storytelling as a tool for social change, particularly in the marginalized communities?
Oh, for sure. So just to get a little business on you for a second, there is
Yes.
a, there is an orange economy that not a lot of people know about. The orange economy is the creative economy in America, and it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So
Mm,
creativity is shaping the narrative of life as we know it, and we don't really lean into that. Like,
yeah.
you want to if you want to control or influence or lead a people, you shape their narrative through art, through media, through stories, through film, through music. I mean, if we look at the Super Bowl and Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance, right? Like, he
Girl.
right. Like, he's not just a musician, he's a conscious poet. He knows what he's doing. His messaging is very specific. He even said, like, in like regarding televising the revolution, and you picked the right time but the wrong person. Like, come on. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Yeah.
I storytelling is powerful. It's not just something to say, like, there are numbers. We can pull numbers and
Yeah.
data. And it's funny because I always say that I'm an A-type creative. I'm an organized creative, and it's very frustrating. But I like to see numbers. I like to see the business and the data as it relates to
Mm.
like words, like show me. So
Yeah, that's
really
good.
logistically and practically, storytelling is a beast, and it shifts and shapes culture.
Yeah,
Um,
it does.
so I would say
And
that.
you're absolutely right. I'm so glad that you used that example of Kendrick Lamar because I mean, my God, I mean, come on. You show me one person or show me someone who has turned on their social media and have not seen
Yeah.
the evolution and revolution of Kendrick Lamar. I mean, you have everybody, people who've never heard of him. Everybody's doing the little challenge and doing I mean, listen, and so, oh my gosh, you can go down a whole rabbit hole of people telling their own narrative of
Mhm.
what he was trying to say during that halftime show. I
Yeah.
have had, I heard so I had to get off of it. Let me just walk away with what I know. But oh my gosh. I
Mhm.
mean, come on. I mean, Valley, imagine how deep we can really go. But imagine the eyes that are being opened through that particular halftime show. Let me talk to you about many artists struggle with trying to find their spaces of where they belong. How do you help create a sense of belonging for stigmatized artists in a way that they can express who they are?
Hmm. Well, I'm one of those artists.
Mhm.
I absolutely struggle with feeling integrated, especially in Christian culture as it relates to artistry. I feel that I am an artist personally that is diving into performance art, which is pretty very performance art is it is controversial. It is a
Mhm.
very specific niche way of storytelling. It is, I don't know if you're familiar with Marina Abramovich or um, artists who basically, because a lot of people think when I say performance art, they think, yeah, like performance, like, Rihanna.
Theater.
But performance art is
Okay. Mhm.
actually um, creating political statements through art. So this is pretty
Mhm.
extreme, but performance art is extreme. Like if you've ever seen someone in a museum, maybe a person is standing up in a museum for like a sort of showcase, and then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes into like them staring out into the audience, somebody
Mhm.
throws white paint on them. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That is
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can't Yeah, that's performance art. So performance art is politically driven, symbolic artistry that isn't necessarily understood, but more so expressed to be felt. To
Yeah.
be a statement. Some people go so far as to be super like violent with their performance art. Like they'll like Marina Abramovich, for example. She's a very controversial artist. She
Mhm.
literally was accused of being a witch. She might be a witch. I don't know. And
Mm.
there was one showcase she did a series of art performances called the Rhythm Series, where she
Mm.
basically one of them she was in she was in a museum, and she had a table of things. There were lighters, there were knives, there was a gun with a single bullet, there were roses,
Mm.
lipstick, all kind water sitting on this
Mm.
table. And the performance was you choose as an audience, you choose something on the table, and you can do whatever you want to her with the thing.
Oh,
And
shoot.
it was controversial. She could have lost
Mm.
her life because there was a man that came there, and he took the gun and he put it to her head. So, and they had to like, so all this to say, like,
Wow.
I'm not trying to do that, but I
What?
I am definitely making a statement in my art, and I don't see that existing in Christianity at all. Like
Yeah.
the church would even want something like what I bring, even on like a very low lying level. So I'm definitely one to challenge the status quo and challenge and bend the lines that we often walk on. That's definitely a part of my art. And so for those who may feel like they don't have a space to fit, I can't say that I'm in a place right now where I'm like very, very specifically and majorly creating that space for artists like me. It's coming. And in small ways, yes, but I would encourage artists like me and people like me who feel marginalized, or who are marginalized, or who don't necessarily have a space. You got to
Mm.
create it. You are the change you see. And if there's something lacking in the space, be it. And it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's not fun all the time. It definitely sounds better in a quote,
Yeah.
but you just got to be it. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, look, I don't see me, so I'm gonna just be me. And sometimes it's scary,
Absolutely.
but you have to. So that's what I
Hold on,
would
let
say.
me ask you something. I absolutely love what you said. I love that answer. And I love that you said that that is you. You embody that whole question. Where do you see yourself starting this? You said they don't, there's no room for it in the church, but and that's okay. Let me don't answer the question. Where do you see yourself starting this
Mhm.
movement, starting to create this space for others?
Yeah, for sure. So right now in the community, I there are, like I said, New Orleans is a very expansive, expressive place. So that's the blessing. There are people who are
Hmm.
open to weirdness and normalcy. It's very culture fused in this space. So there's lots of venues, other artists that I'm collaborating with right now, poetry spots, grants, fellowships that I attach myself to, that I'm
Hmm.
applying for currently, that create space for me to, be a part of whatever it is that they're doing,
Yeah,
museums. And then on another note, me also creating like events, definitely creating events. I love creating events. So if
yeah,
I have a project and I don't necessarily see a venue or an opportunity to truly collaborate in the way that I think is efficient for the project, I'll just host something at my house, or,
that's good.
just find that space.
I love that. I love that, Valley. And I asked that question because I do believe that in what you are doing, sometimes we look to say, we knock on the church's door and we say, hey, look at this. And that's something that they may be afraid of. It's outside of their norm. So maybe sometimes I believe that God will keep you right where you are to regain territory in the
Mm.
spaces that you are familiar with,
Ooh,
because you've
word.
been through, right? Come
Yes,
on.
I love that. Yes, you were right on the mark. Yes, that's so.
Your work merges art, entertainment, and faith. How does these three elements connect to your storytelling?
So again, storytelling for me is it's the found it is art. So
Mhm.
storytelling is always starting, like the ground floor is art. And for a minute, I'm still struggling to understand how God wants this to look.
Mm.
And what I'm coming to learn, and this is also what this may be controversial, but this is what my mentors, my pastors teach me. You just got to throw stuff at the wall and don't be afraid that don't be afraid that God is don't think that God is afraid of you. Don't think that God is afraid of your mistakes or mess
Yeah,
ups. This is, especially as an artist, I'm just tumbling through. I don't have a strong plan. It's kind of chaos. And the moment I was willing to surrender that to God, I feel like that's the moment He met me with answers. Like,
mm.
this isn't going to be perfect. This is some things I might be like, God, you want me to do what? You know?
Right,
Like
right,
I'm the
right,
one like I'm the one clutching my pearls. And I
right.
say that because I mean, a part of my when I felt like as I'm feeling like, God, performance art and Christianity and storytelling and Christianity. But then it's like I keep getting met with like this bizarrety that starts with scripture. So like if we look at the Old Testament, the prophets in the Old Testament were
Mm.
performance artists.
See where?
They they
Yeah,
were literally called to perform, to do
absolutely.
tasks. I think it was Hosea,
Yeah,
um, who was called to, um, not Hosea. It was because Hosea was called to marry, what would be considered a whore back then
right.
in that time, which
Hmm.
was also performative in a sense. It was a
Hmm.
message to the people, a symbolism, right? But there was
Hmm.
also one of my favorite prophets. I think it was Ezekiel. I think it was Ezekiel. And right,
Ooh.
right.
Mm.
He was called to like
Uh-huh.
shave his head. And God was like, yeah, I want you to lay on human feces. And Ezekiel was like, say what? Like, God,
Yeah.
no. And God's like, all right, you don't have to lay on human feces, but cow or animal feces and lay on your side for this many days. And then don't
Yeah.
this much. So that was
Yeah.
all insane to the people. And very much so performance art. That was symbolism for the sake of justice, for the sake of a message that people didn't necessarily grasp, but it was impactful.
Woo.
So that is how that's how Christianity and faith is intertwined, that recognizing that storytelling is art.
Mm.
B,
Mm.
God is creator. God is the creative. God gave me the gift of creativity. He is the ultimate creator. I mean, look around us. Look at you and I. Like, God is incredibly, profoundly, infinitely creative in ways that I am overwhelmed to even begin to imagine. And He's given me this gift and this blessing to be able to translate my feelings and language in His word and my experiences in a creative way to touch others. And it's just beautiful and messy and painful and wonderful and
Mm.
scary and very imperfect. So it's just this big ball of just, all right,
Yeah.
God, let's go. That's what
Wow. I am getting chills, and I really want to tell you why, but I'm holding back. If I'm led to, I'm gonna tell you sooner than later. But I cannot agree with you more. Oh man, sometimes I feel like He shows me things,
Mm,
but I can't articulate them the way I want them to come out. You
mm,
showed me this, Lord. I can't figure out how to get it out. It took me. I just wrote a book. Her sister's choices, and it took me years. God showed me this for years, and I could not figure out how to write it.
mm,
And then I turned it into like a study guide, but it was such a harsh truth. And I believe that even with you, God is using creative people like you to tell the harsh truth and the truth that needs to be heard. It's a harsh truth. It's a harsh truth, but it's going to lead to a beautiful reality. And
mm,
when somebody has the mind to understand that and intersect the two, you are about to change lives.
mm.
Um, I gotta calm down. Give me a second. Um,
I love it. Let's go,
yeah.
Prophet. Let's go, Prophet.
Look, no. I'm trying to tell you, if you I'm gonna calm down because maybe perhaps it's gonna take a minute for me to tell you what I really want to tell you. You have such a beautiful mind. And you're very special. So don't, like, I always feel like you can't, that may not start in a church. It may start exactly where you are, but it's going to reach the people who need it the most. Some of us who are in church, some of us who are sitting on mountaintops, and we are not understanding God's fullest revelation of where He needs us to be right now in this season. And I do believe that He's going to use creatives like you to bring it to reality,
Mhm.
make it into our existence for right now. The
Yes.
people right now that are hungry for it. I went off. This is not okay. What if
I love it.
Wait a minute. Let me come back. I'm trying to tell you, let him use you, Valley. Let him use you. What advice do you have for women who want to use their voice and creativity to drive change in their communities,
Mhm.
like yourself?
What advice would I give to women who want to use creativity to make change in community? I would say recognize that the change starts in you.
Mm,
I, for the longest, wanted to be famous because as
mm,
a kid, I would get these words like you special and God's going to use you in a mighty way, and it went to my head, and it caused a lot of arrogance and pride. And I think we
mm,
all deal with it on certain degrees. And I'm a very honest person, so I
mm.
don't I don't really hold back anything. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
really shame. I don't have a lot of shame anymore. But
Mm,
I definitely had a lot of like my road was more so about me and fame, and
yeah.
I felt like I was always up against time because what do you do when you have this passion, right? And you have the gift and you want to And so you just want to do it yourself. You want to just push. And but if the change and the creativity and the artistry and the message doesn't start in you, then it's just ego. It's not authentic. It has to change you, because when it changes you, you can't idolize it, because
Ooh,
it's something that's in you. Like, so I'm talking to you like this, but just 2 years ago I wasn't this, because my world didn't collapse on me. So now it's like it changed from, oh, I want to, I get to I have to, because if I don't, it might cost me more, right? So,
yeah.
and I think that comes from God doing a work in you, God healing things. You can't, you, it's, I think that it's hard to create change without that authenticness inside of you. Like, it's gotta be in you. And the hard thing about that is it's gonna take time. Like,
Yeah.
that's just what it is. Like, and I think that's why we don't want to do it, or I didn't want to, like, just let God work in me, and let God say, okay, yes, you are going to make impact, and I am giving you this gift, but let me show you why. Let me show you who I am in you. Let me show you who you are.
Mm,
Let's get to the pain. Let's get to the trauma, because that is the change. That is the impact. It's like that whole saying, leaders are born out of necessity. Like,
yeah.
there's a need. You're not just an artist and a voice just because you're cute or you can say things really well. Like, you have something in you that God has placed on the inside of you that He wants to use for others. And it's going to take humility, and humility comes by humiliation, in my opinion. And
Mm,
it's a it was a hard journey for me. Hopefully it's
mm,
as intense for someone who just has that dream and that desire. But I definitely would definitely say, like, give it to
mm,
God, be patient, be gracious with yourself. And the first question to ask is not, what do you want me to do? God, what can I do? But rather, God, who am I and who are you? What's in me? What
mm.
what hurts? What feels good? What are you, more so those words. Like, it's internal first, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Can I just say thank you for your honesty. Thank you for that, because I think you said something that may bring a lot of this into perspective, especially for some of us who are hungry. We've been prophesied. Somebody has told us that we're going to do great things, and so we have this idea, because God is not a God of time. We figure, like, God, what you
Right.
I'm getting up there. When is this
Right.
going to happen
Oh my
for me?
goodness. Whew.
Uh,
Yes. For me too.
mm,
I'm seeing 30. That's scary. I'm like, okay, I see 30, guy. Like, what's up? So yeah.
it's gonna happen. I love what you said, and I love about the fact that when you come to him and just let him know, what did you say? What do I get to do for you? How can you use me to reach other people? I'm your servant, and I just love that humble spirit.
Mm.
Um, oh gosh, okay. Where do you see your where do you see your work evolving over the next? I don't even want to use this, because I feel I see things happening for you a lot sooner
Mm.
than
Speak it.
years. So I'm gonna say, where do you see yourself within the next year, with the next 6 months to a year? What impact do you hope to continue to make?
That's kind of a difficult question for me. I have a really bad relationship with time. Like I mentioned, I'm struggling with time and God's timing, and it's a little bit weird for me right now. I will say though, I would hope that I have created projects that are published and out. I would hope to see myself having secured fellowships and grants that would fund my creative projects, that would fund my dreams, and would have collaborated with artists in the community, Christian artists, non-believing artists, um,
Mm,
and so definitely seeing that snowball effect. What else? I would say internally, I would definitely like to see a deeper peace, and that my relationship with God is even stronger. And I do have a list of this, but I'm not going to pull it out. I do have my goals written out. I do, but I would say, yeah, just a few months ago, my goal was to survive, to heal, to just make it to the next day, to not lose my mind. I was recently diagnosed with a mental health disorder, and I didn't,
Mm,
so just it's everything's just very fragile and very sensitive feeling. And so
yeah.
now, kind of out of that place, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm human and I feel people now and I can see people and I'm anchored. And so now I get to dream again. And I didn't even know if I was going to be able to see the color and dream in life. So yeah, I'm just sort of taking it day by day and
Mm.
surrendering, because I mean, whew, that's all I
Come
can do.
on. Come on. Valley, you are just so beautiful inside and
Yeah.
out. Yeah. So, if you could leave one thing for our listeners today, like a powerful message, something that they can hold on to and carry them throughout the week, what would you say to them?
This may sound very practical and just cliche, but it's okay and it's going to be okay.
Mm,
It's okay. It's
yeah.
okay. And it's going to be okay.
Yeah. That's good. That is in some and that's okay.
Yeah. It's
um
simple.
I can take that and run with it, but I won't. And I think that is a good note to leave off on. Um, Valley, you are just a a man. I cannot wait. I know you got this thing with time, and I did too. But I do stand by Jeremiah 29:11. God knows the plans that He has for you, plans to prosper you. Um, can you tell us where to find you, where to follow you?
For sure. Because I was about to delete my Instagram, but I was like, I
No.
prayed about it. I was like, nah, I don't think I need to do that. But
Mm-mm.
my Instagram is, look, I don't even know it. Underscore Valley O without an E. So that's VALLYO underscore Valley O. Yeah.
And then tell us where we could go check out this play if we want to see it. Is it on YouTube?
So all of my, oh yes, the It Gets Darker play is on YouTube. I will say,
Yay!
in the play, I'm in a different place with God now, and the things that I've consented to, I wouldn't consent to now. So there are some boobies. I did not know that the woman was going to take her shirt off. I collab with other women. Some of them were non-believers, but this lady, she actually was a is wild out here. She's a priest. She's a priest. She's like I
Uh-huh.
think she's like a so she I guess she's a woman of the Lord, and
Uh-huh.
she's an interesting her journey with God, and her title is very interesting and very liberated. So she definitely went topless for her part. So I wouldn't
Okay.
recommend watching it with kids, but it is a
Okay.
powerful show still.
Okay. Okay, good. You know what? It's all about art and it's storytelling, and I can't wait. Look, I'm not afraid of it. So you are doing amazing things, Valley. Please continue to do so. Please continue to be a witness. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on and sharing your story, your truth. I know your story is going to impact so many women and men everywhere. They're going to see that just with faith and by continuing to walk and continue to let God
Mm.
pull whatever it is that's in you out, you are going to make a difference in the kingdom. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Ladies, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier, and perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time.